speak Rhode Island, so the sheriff can translate since he was in the DEA up on Federal Hill in Providence, so he'll translate. Can you start by giving your
first and last name and what today's event means to you?
Lieutenant Joe Sousa, S-O-U-S-A, and today's event means exactly what that means right there. A bunch of wasted time that we did in training, and now it's in a bucket. I really don't have any more to say than that. We wasted a bunch of time.
How frustrating is this for you?
It's frustrating. I don't like it. I don't like when guys go out, do a lot of training, and I don't like when we got some activist groups out there, which I think are in the minority, but they're the ones that are being heard. But I listen to the citizens. I get the calls every day. A matter of fact, when we worked in Mesa, and the feds wouldn't take the 10 that we got out there, I'm the one that took all the phone calls from the irate citizens yelling and screaming at me and my people, but I was sure to refer them to ICE and gave them their phone number.
You're out in the field every day. You see this day in and day out. What does this day represent for the community?
I think on the federal side they took a step backwards, but I think the sheriff's made it clear we don't look at it as a step backwards for this office. I mean, if you look at the federal administration, I think it's a step back. I think what I see every day, the drop houses, you gotta look at this in totality. When you look at illegal immigration, you got to look at the human smuggling. You've got to look at the violent drop houses we've dealt with. We've dealt with houses. My unit has dealt with houses. We're talking where people were being raped, where people were being tased. I see the big picture, and I look at it as a big picture. And the sheriff's stance on anybody that we come across in the course of our duties out there, we don't racial profile. But statistically speaking, I mean, there's a lot of people driving around Maricopa County that are in this country illegally. And if we're going to come across them, we're going to take action. And I would prefer that we work 287G. And I would prefer it because now we're actually helping the federal government. We're helping those guys out. We're going into the computer systems. We're doing all that work. We're taking care of it. So we're also helping them. So I think it's a step backwards for the feds. I don't think it's a step backwards for us. As the sheriff just said, we're going to press on in doing what we got to do within the law. We play by the rules. We've always played by the rules, and we'll continue to play by the rules.
So, Lieutenant, can you talk about when you guys make a traffic stop in the field? Talk about some of the indicators you guys use that will raise the...
Are you talking about human smuggling?
No, we're talking about during crime suppression operations. What are some of the indicators you guys use?
There is no indicator. The bottom line is, if we're out there doing one of those zero tolerance patrol, crime suppression operation, we only stop vehicles for traffic infractions that violate state law. Period. That's our only intent. And then the bottom line is, once you make contact with a violator, in this state, you've got to provide identification if you're driving in this state. If you have no identification on your person and you don't speak English, then it's reasonable for a deputy sheriff to ask, does anybody have identification in this vehicle? And then the next question would be, how come you don't have identification? A lot of times we get admission. People tell us freely, oh, I'm here illegally. Well, you know what? At that point, it's reasonable suspicion. In the course of our traffic stop, it's a detainment while we're doing our investigation, and we call ICE. Tell them what we got. And then we end up turning them over. I mean, it's what we've always been able to do as a police agency before we even had the 287G program. That's why ICE has a local law enforcement response unit. Why would you have that response unit? Unfortunately, we've got a lot of city agencies out here that, because of politics, won't let them do that. Well, we work for an elected official, thank God, that does what he feels is right, and he's not going to worry about politics. He does what he knows is right. This is right.
Have you guys noticed the federal investigators? I know they were out at the crime sweep this last weekend, is what we heard. Have you noticed their presence?
Oh, I could care less. You know why? And I don't say that. I mean, I'm sure if they see this, I'm going to become a target. I could care less. You know why? Because we're doing nothing wrong. I'm a true believer. If you're doing nothing wrong, you got nothing to worry about. I lose no sleep over it. I'll go whatever depositions they want me to. I'll go swear in court all day. We do nothing wrong. We work within the guidelines. We work within the law. I haven't lost one bit of sleep, and I won't.
Do you have to keep following the ICE guidelines now that you're not working under them in the field?
Well, the bottom. I think the sheriff just said we've got some training and some knowledge, and that training and knowledge. It's not like we got a switch you turn off. I mean, there's a lot of information that we were taught that we can use in the field. The bottom line is we don't report to ICE, and we just have to make some adjustments on some of the cases we're working on the human smuggling side, but it's not going to slow us down at all. Like I said, the training's there. You don't turn it off. It's not like an on and off switch. It ain't like they can take back everything they gave us because it's up here. It's not there. So
what it changes now? Sorry.
Excuse me?
What it changes now without the 287?
Well, there's minor changes that we have to do investigative-wise, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you because bad guys watch TV, and I'm not one of those that likes to give out our tactics. Our tactics are within the rules, but we deal with human smugglers every day. It's a cat and mouse game with the human smugglers, and they constantly change their tactics depending on what we're doing, how we go about doing things. I'm a big believer that I'm not going to sit up here and tell you how we fight the battle on human smuggling because bad guys watch TV, and I'm not going to help them.
So really, it's not going to change too dramatically.
No, it's not. It's not going to change much at all. And I think I want to be clear right now. These local ICE guys are outstanding. I love these guys. These guys work with us. Even with everything going on, they've called me off the record. I won't mention names because I don't want to get them in trouble. But they tell me. And, they have to worry about this kind of stuff. That's why I won't mention their names. But they tell me, hey, anything you guys need, call. We'll try to do it for you. And I've told them the same. We've assisted ICE on their investigations plenty of times, and that will not change. Like the sheriff said, we are not vindictive. We will continue the mission. We will continue to help ICE, although the feds screwed us in Washington. Not locally.
So
Do we have to beat that out? Is screwed okay? All right.
You say anything you want.
All right.
I'm still trying to understand. The Fed screwed you, but the sheriff says nothing changes. So how did you get screwed?
There is no change.
There's no
report.
So how did you get screwed?
You know how they get screwed is because they entered into a partnership and agreement with us, and there was a trust thing there. Also, I'm also really offended that they would deny a week later, telling us that we couldn't. Now I'm not talking about the local guys. Basically calling us liars. Washington's calling us liars. It's kind of hard for me as the unit commander for human smuggling to know for a fact that we were told, no, you cannot arrest these guys because Washington told the local guys not to take them. And then a week later, they're still denying it. You don't call that screwed?
So is this an ego thing?
What do you mean ego?
I mean, it seems like that's what you're implying.
No, it's not an ego thing. It's a matter of trust. And if somebody insinuated that you were a liar, wouldn't you get defensive? I get a little emotional. I don't know if you noticed. So I'm reining myself in a little bit right now. But it's not an ego thing. I mean, if somebody calls you a liar and you don't react, then there's something wrong with you. I mean, there's something wrong with you. Somebody calls me a liar, I take that very, very personal.
If those local ICE agents lied to us